What's going on, dude?
Hi.
Where the heck are we?
We're in the car.
In an old
We're back
studio?
in our old studio.
Yeah, and we're trying some different recording techniques. So we love the quality of what we had when we finally figured out how to record independently.
Right.
So we're going to try to do some different stuff to get that same quality of audio. So come along with us on our experiment.
Come on, let's go, and run around.
I don't know what that was, but
That's
feel
from
like...
The Land Before Time.
Okay.
With Littlefoot and Sarah, I think maybe.
Yeah.
And Petrie.
All right. I'll go along with it.
I think you're just enough older than me.
No, I watched The Land Before Time,
good.
but I don't
Good.
remember any of it.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're going to try this. And either way, we're going to get you guys a good podcast.
Yeah. I think we got good stuff to talk about today.
Yeah. So,
but
first, let's talk about the weekend.
Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah. It was a longer weekend.
We had an extra day.
Mm-hmm. I built a bike stand for my garage for a video I'm making.
So you posted it to social media? Because you like to do this sometimes. You'll post a little teaser.
A little teaser.
Did you see the GIF that I sent back? It was like the pie symbol.
I don't know that I did, but that's hilarious. No, I didn't see that, and that's hilarious.
It looked just like,
Yeah, I love how people will guess things that I have built in the past, like for stuff like a squirrel
You're completely
tunnel.
Redoing a thing you already did. Yeah.
So it's great. Although I did have a guest this morning that this Tuesday, I had a guest this morning from one of my YouTube followers. He got on my my website and posted on the post I made there, and he got it right. So
this is one that just grips the back tire?
It grips the back tire, but it's got a little fold-down thing.
Oh,
so it
nice.
stabilizes it even better, and then it folds up. And so it's a little extra than just the gripping the back tire. It can't roll forward. So, yeah, but I built that. That's going to be pretty cool. That video is coming out tomorrow, since today is Thursday. Friday, I don't know what that is. Friday, the end of May.
The 29th.
29th. That's when it is.
Yep.
So I'll put that out Friday, 29th.
5 paychecks this month. 5 paychecks.
Is that what happens this month?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you, paychecks. The other thing I did, I went out and did a solo mountain bike ride on a whim. I was at home all weekend, basically babysitting my youngest daughter. Not really babysitting. She kind of takes care of herself, but
kind of.
I had to be there because I'm a dad, and that's just what you do. My wife and my oldest daughter took a trip to Eureka Springs for her graduating 8th grade.
Uh-huh.
And so Kate and I, we went ziplining for her 5th grade graduation.
Okay.
And Sunday...
Oh, man. She's no longer in elementary school.
Yeah, no longer in elementary school, and she's taller than my oldest daughter.
Right.
So, lots of accomplishments for her. And, so I wanted to get out for like a couple hours. I felt very like home.
Cooped up?
Yeah, cooped up. And so I asked my in-laws, and they let me. They're like, yeah, sure, no problem. And I was like, great. So I was like, well, it's super hot out, super humid. I went out and rode and found out that the repair that I did on my seat post worked, but there's another flaw that I have been avoiding in that seat post for a long time, and it finally just happened. So now when I sit on it and hit a bump, it scoots down an inch. Hit another bump, scoots down maybe 2 inches. So I have avoided this flaw.
God, that's super annoying.
Yeah, I have avoided this flaw for a long time, and yeah, I can't avoid it anymore. So
are you gonna bite the bullet?
I did.
A whole new?
I did. I bought a whole new seat post.
What'd you get?
You'll just have to wait and see.
Oh.
Yeah, because
it's hard being friends with a YouTuber.
It's not that. It's that I don't want to kind of hype up anything of this brand.
Okay.
It looks a lot... I've done a lot of research. I feel like I'm going long on this. I've done a lot of research, and basically there is a style of a seat post that's external routing, which I have to have. So you're limited on what you can get. Without spending $300, they all pretty much look like they're made by the same manufacturer. They've just been slapped on different logos.
That's kind of like Bass Pro with all their different brands.
Exactly. So this particular looking seat post got great reviews in all the different brands except for this one that has no reviews out there at all.
Okay.
So I'm taking a big chance, but saving like $80. If it works, great. If it doesn't, I'll just return it.
Review to come.
Yes. Anyways, long enough about me.
Well, where'd you go? That's important.
I went to Two Rivers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I figured.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Just did a loop
needed
out.
To be clarified.
Did a loop out there. So, some of the West Loop, some of the North Loop.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So my twins turned 2 over the weekend.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I did some future looking. This is the last time for the next 3 years that their birthday will be the same weekend as Memorial Day.
Hmm.
So the next 3 years, they'll be the weekend prior. Which is good.
Yeah.
Like this year it wasn't as big of a deal because we're on quarantine and no one can hang out with people anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like friends and that sort of thing. People from Kansas City that we would invite down for a birthday party, were we to have one. Last year we invited a ton of people for their first.
Yeah.
And a ton of people said yes, and then a ton of people realized last minute, this is Memorial Day weekend. We can't be at a 1-year-old birthday party on a Saturday.
Can't do that.
And so anyway, the next 3 years, that particularly won't be a problem. But this year, we went down to my mom and dad's, and we hung out with my sister, and it was great.
Nice.
It was super low-key.
Yeah.
We did it on Sunday. That was their actual birthday. It was supposed to rain like all day, and it didn't rain until we got ready to leave, which is perfect.
Nice.
So we got lucky.
Yeah, there was a lot of rain in the predictions for the weekend, and it seemed like there was less rain than there was rain, but when it did rain, it seemed to rain really hard.
Gosh, it rained so hard. I am slightly terrified to go into my crawl space. I've never been down there and seen any standing water or anything like that, but I'm afraid if I went down there now, I might. I had a creek in my backyard yesterday.
Ooh.
I've yet to have a creek in my backyard.
I have a small creek every once in a while.
Yeah.
That's annoying.
It is.
Because you try to grow grass and it just ruts it out, and then you have to keep filling it in, and then like you make slow progressions of growing grass.
Yeah.
So it's like,
well, so lucky for me, I had grass.
Yeah, that makes a big difference.
When they built my house, they only dug up about half of the backyard. And so where the lowest point was grass the whole time.
Oh, okay.
And so they never had to
yeah, so you don't have to worry about the rutting out and stuff. Yeah. Once you have grass in there, it seems to bounce.
It's pretty much,
it's good.
Pretty much there. And so, luckily, my trees that I planted are just up from the creek on the other side of the little valley. And so all is good.
Nice.
But
soon those trees will drink up that water.
I know, right? Yeah. And it won't be a problem anyway. But, yeah.
Very cool.
So what are we talking about?
I wanted to talk about a big move by a major podcaster, Joe Rogan, and what it might mean for the podcast industry and what it might not mean.
Sure.
And what do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about online ordering.
Oh, I've never done that before.
Ever?
Never. I usually call in and fill out a form.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And mail?
And mail it.
Put a stamp on it?
A little check.
Yeah, remember when you licked stamps?
What?
Now they're just stickers. Anyway.
All right, I say we talk about it.
Let's do it. Welcome back to Lunchtime Tech Talk. I'm Chad.
And I'm Run Bike Mike.
Yeah, you are!
Self-plug.
Oh my God. So we had another driveway party Friday night. And at some point, okay, so my neighbor makes guitars.
Oh.
Like custom makes them.
Okay.
He was talking to his wife because he just set up an Instagram channel. Or channel, whatever. Page.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so I popped on there and I'm going through and liking a bunch of stuff. And he plays a little bit on there too, and he plays really good. Like kind of a bluesy slide guitarist style. It
Yeah.
sounds really good. And so he yells at his wife, "Hey, who's MSUMACC?" And she goes, "Oh, that's Chad. That's Chad." And then she goes, Mac Daddy? And so now I start walking up to the driveway party Friday night, and she goes, "What's up, Mac Daddy?"
Oh,
and
my
I was
God.
like, "Oh, no."
Oh, man. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Why don't you go first? Let's hit the big overarching.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. So, if you're into podcasts in the podcast world, you might have heard of Joe Rogan.
Maybe.
If you're not into podcasts and you're into the comedy world, you might have heard of Joe Rogan.
If you're
If
not
you're not into either
those,
one, you might have heard of him from Fear Factor.
and if you're not into any of those, he does all the UFC stuff.
Yes. Yeah, so there's a lot this dude
There's
is
a lot of
involved with.
places you can find Joe Rogan.
He has basically...
Oh, man, Fear Factor. I forgot about that one.
Yeah. So he has like the biggest podcast in the world right now. He has more listeners every week and per every episode than any other podcast out there. He puts out a lot of content, several a week, and they're most of the time
long.
2 to 3 to 4, sometimes even a 6-hour stint of interviews.
It basically just depends on how interesting the person is.
Yeah, or how high he is. I mean, they
Yeah,
get drunk
way.
and high and
Either
so
way.
on those things.
Yeah.
So
Either way.
I love his podcast because I love the interesting people that he interviews. Now, some of them go off the rails. Some of them are a little weird. Some of them are a little odd. But I love that he interviews a huge spectrum of people from like scientists to politicians to religious people to UFC fighters to ultra runners. I mean, he has a huge... I mean, he's got like, I think 1,600 interviews or something over the last decade.
Yeah.
So he's interviewed a lot of people.
You know what I like about it? So I don't actually listen to it, but I'll catch stuff on YouTube here and there.
Yeah, like little clips and stuff.
Yeah, YouTube is pretty good at looking at what you're interested in and suggesting stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, they try.
They try. But like 6 or 7 minute clips will pop up from his. But what I like about the podcast is that these are big interviews.
Right.
But they're not... He doesn't... Like, a lot of people would do an interview and then try to curate it down to an hour.
Yeah, he doesn't.
And he just lets you hear the interview.
Yeah.
And I like that.
And I totally agree with him on the way that he does the format, that you can't have a conversation with somebody and really get a lot out of it if you're clipping things.
Yep. Because they're worried about being taken out of context.
Yes. Where if you do long form interviews, you can really see a side of a person that you might not have ever seen before.
For sure.
So besides him, what really happened is he got basically an offer from Spotify, and the rumored amount is $100 million to come over to Spotify exclusively. So what does this mean for his podcast and everybody else's podcasts? Well, he's going to be leaving YouTube. The only thing that he is not going to be leaving YouTube from are clips. He's still going to have Joe Rogan clips.
Okay.
So he can do those 5-6 minute ones that you're seeing.
Sure, yeah.
And I watch a lot of those because there's a lot of times there's people that I'm like, I don't really know who that is. And I get a basis for who he's interviewing based off of those clips.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? That was interesting. I'll go back and listen to the whole thing in
Interesting.
podcast format.
Gotcha.
So he's going to have those on there, but his long form videos are going to be gone.
Okay.
I think he's actually going to strip them from YouTube completely. And they're going to be moved over to Spotify, which I didn't realize Spotify had video.
I didn't either.
And I think it's a new thing that's come out specifically for this purpose.
Okay.
So he's going to have video on there, and he's going to have his podcast exclusively on there. So he's leaving YouTube for the most part, for the biggest part.
Yeah.
And he's also leaving the Apple iTunes library.
Oh.
So where everybody goes and basically posts their podcast primarily, he's leaving that area. He's going to be exclusively, at the end of this year, exclusively on Spotify.
Yeah,
so
you're not going to pay someone $100 million if you can listen to them somewhere else.
right. So the question is he still a podcast? The technical answer is No, he's not a podcast.
Because Apple is started podcasts?
No, because
Okay.
podcasts, the format of a podcast is, or the history of a podcast is a audio file that's basically put out there that anybody can grab, like an RSS feed.
Okay.
So it's basically a open audio file that you can just grab using some type of a URL or address or whatever to get it and be pulled into a podcast player.
So once it's no longer just pushed out there for everyone to do whatever with,
Right.
it's no longer a podcast.
Right. You won't be able to open up Overcast, Outcast, Podbean, Google Play, any of those things, Apple Podcasts, and just be able to search Joe Rogan and find it. It won't be there. So it's not technically a podcast. I would say, and you put this in a good way, it in a way that kind of made me understand this a little bit more, was it's just kind of like the Howard Stern thing to XM.
Yeah.
He's more of a...
Yeah, when he went to satellite,
Mm-hmm.
and you couldn't find him anywhere else, like, that's what this is.
Yeah, and now Howard Stern was on the radio, right? So you
Right.
had to tune in to the whatever radio it was. He wasn't podcast, but...
He would have been now.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah.
And so yes, it's a podcast in the way that most people think of, like, okay, well, he's still going to be on there, but you're going to have to download the Spotify app if you don't have it. You can get it for free.
And you can get him for free?
Yes, you can get him for free.
But you're driven to the platform.
You're driven to the platform, and that's the big pull for them. Now, does this hurt podcasters like us? Because you start thinking about it, and we're on Spotify, but we're like, if we didn't want to be on Spotify, would it really affect us, or will it affect us in general if, say, Spotify takes over the majority of the podcasts? Let's say somebody goes, hey, do you listen to a podcast? Yeah, I listen to it. Cool, what app do you use? Well, Spotify. What else is there?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they eventually get to where they don't know. Like, Spotify is the Kleenex of podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything's exclusively on Spotify. That'll hurt smaller podcasts if that ever happened, because there wouldn't be... the stuff wouldn't be out there as much. You wouldn't have as many options to pick from. But I don't think that's ever going to happen. I don't think Spotify is ever going to take over the whole entire industry. For one, they don't have enough money. They're spending big money on things like Gimlet Media and Joe Rogan. So they're going to eventually run out of money on all this stuff. They're going to get a huge draw, and people are going to go over there and listen to these specialty podcasts, and eventually they'll probably put up a paywall around some of these individuals. But I don't think it's going to hurt the podcast industry at all, because there's people like us and some of the people that we listen to that are just dudes in the car.
You know, there's a flip side to all this, too. They're making a big gamble. $100 million gamble.
Yes.
And so, like, iHeartRadio has a network of podcasts, too.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So the most recent thing that I know of that they did, and it's because I listened to a bunch of these podcasts, is they bought the How Stuff Works network,
Mm-hmm.
which was all podcasts and a little bit of video and
Yeah.
a little bit of article writing. But, like, they bought that whole network, and so now they're part of iHeartRadio. But, like, they're still available on everything. They always say, check us out on the iHeartRadio app,
Mm-hmm.
but you can get them anywhere.
Right.
Like, what's interesting to me is they're making this big bet. If Joe Rogan's numbers tank because people just aren't going to Spotify to listen to it,
Mm-hmm.
like, it's one of those things. Like, if you're in Netflix and you finish watching a show and it pops up and says, hey, you might like this
Mhm.
because you just watched this,
Right.
and you click play, you don't go anywhere else.
Right.
So if you're listening to all your other podcasts in Apple Podcasts because you have an iPhone and that's where you listen, I know you have an iPhone and that's not necessarily where you listen, but that's where I listen.
That's where I listen.
I'm never gonna see Joe Rogan stuff, and I've already had a poor experience with Spotify on the free version.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not gonna go there.
Right. Yeah, it's they are going to have to continue to purchase things that you are interested in for you to be drawn over there.
Yeah.
So they're making the biggest play they can to do that, right? Like they bought Gimlet Media, which is probably a podcast that you would probably like. It's like a storytelling podcast. You might like it. They do some good stuff. Have you ever heard of them?
Maybe.
I bet you have. I can't name any of their episodes right off the top of my head, but they do have some pretty cool stuff. It's the typical like overproduced podcast, you know, like NPR style, where it's like there's music in the background and sound effects.
Hi.
Well,
welcome to Delicious Dish.
Not the Saturday Night Live version, but it's good stuff. But what they're doing is they're saying, how can we reach the most people in the podcast world to try to draw them over to our area? Yes, they will pull a lot of people over, but it wouldn't surprise me if Joe Rogan's audience drops down to a fourth, because people already have their stuff set up and they don't really want to change. And if Joe Rogan isn't there, there's another million podcasts that are out there ready to be listened to. Right. So I think this is going to be, it's great for Joe. He's got a lot of money. He's in his 50s. He's like 53. So if he gets $100 million, let's say he doesn't even get all that. Let's say he basically takes in $25 million. What does he care? I mean, that's $25 million. He's 53. I mean, how many more years of his life does he really have? Maybe if he's lucky, he might have another 50. But that's a long shot.
Yeah, he's for sure over halfway through.
And he's getting paid by other things, right?
Right.
So, I mean, this isn't really a big gamble for him.
No.
And it's a gamble for Spotify.
This is no risk, all reward.
Right. So another podcast I listened to basically said, look, if $100 million carrot got dangled in front of my face, I would not hesitate in grabbing it.
Well, so this is like, to make it a sports reference, so this is like, they called it the Larry Bird, what was it? So in the NBA, when a player was at the end of their contract, whoever they got drafted by, they could just leave and go somewhere else for a max contract. Mm-hmm. And all the max contracts were the same. And in NBA, all the money's guaranteed. Mm. So, like, there's no risk. Like, no one can offer you, well, I'll give you X signing bonus and 80% of your money guaranteed. Like, it's all guaranteed. Right. And so all of the best players who are automatically drafted to the worst teams, because that's how draft order works, as soon as their first contract was up, they went to the Lakers, they went to the Celtics, like, they went to these big name teams. Right. Well, they ended up putting in, like, the Larry Bird contract clause where the team that signed you, the team that you were currently playing for, could offer you an extra year and more money than anyone else could. Mm. So you were likely to re-sign with the same team. Gotcha. That doesn't hurt the player, really. Right. But it helps the team hugely. Right. And so, if you're willing to stay, still. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, Joe Rogan is signing up for guaranteed $100 million. Yeah. In an industry that sort of popped up out of nowhere and sort of could go away at any time. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, I don't blame. There's nothing saying that podcasts are going to stick around. Yeah, I mean, everybody's got their price, right? Right. And everybody's price, for the most part, is under $100 million. And it's not like he is well under $100 million. It's not like he, and when I say that, it's not like he's selling himself out. No, yeah. Like this is a business deal where he still has the rights to this stuff, and nobody knows how long the contract is. The contract could be for 4 years. And, okay, that's interesting, because I had it in my head somewhere that it was 6. I don't know that I saw that anywhere. Well, even if it is 6, at that point he'll be what, 59, 60? He might just be like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done. I've met everybody that I want to meet. And really, at this, also, is if they're not going to limit him creatively,
oh God,
Creatively?
Yes, creatively. Then why does he care how he's getting paid? This is less work for him because Spotify is going to do all the legwork to promote this thing.
Right.
He doesn't have to him and his staff have to go out there and do this anymore. He just shows up, has a glass of whiskey, smokes a joint, and interviews somebody. I mean,
Right.
It's like the ideal situation. I'm sure there's a lot of pressure taken off of him.
You know what's interesting is, which I'm sure that they worked through all this, but what's interesting is if Spotify bought the Joe Rogan experience and not Joe Rogan, then he could spin something off.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
And be back out in everything else just because he named it something different, you know?
Because honestly, I mean, it's just like there's a podcast I used to listen to, the TED Radio Hour. And it's basically TED Talks consolidated.
Yeah.
And I really liked the host. I really liked his voice. I thought he was smooth. I thought it was just really good. And now there's a new host on there, and I've listened to it once, and I'm like, nope.
It was the guy.
Yeah, you can't put somebody else in the Joe Rogan experience because it's not the Joe Rogan experience. So I don't think this is going to hurt the podcast industry for small podcasters. I think it's interesting for larger podcasters and what it could do. But there's still a major platform out there for people who want to just talk into a microphone and have other people listen and it be a very low cost to entry platform.
The other thing that's interesting is we've been doing this for just over a year. I think within the time that we've been doing this, Spotify started having podcasts.
Yep.
I don't think it was before. I think it was
agree.
within our time. And now all of a sudden they've done the first like exclusive deal.
Yeah.
That's in like the latest player to the game is the one trying to change the game.
Second major. I would say Gimlet was probably their first major, but this one's huge. This one's the biggest deal in any podcast history.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I would say I wish him luck, but I mean, he's already got. There's no luck needed. He's established himself.
He's just going to keep doing what he's been doing.
You know, it's like whether you like Joe Rogan or not, you have to look at him and look at the work that he has put into the stuff that he has done. He was a comic. Yes, he was funny, but he worked himself all the way up to being on Fear Factor, to being extreme knowledge base in UFC, to being somebody who just started a podcast in his closet to the first person to sell one for $100 million, who's interviewed some insane people.
He must have some work ethic.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely work ethic. But anyways, enough about Joe Rogan. He gets enough attention.
Does he? No. Just kidding. Just kidding. Yeah, so online ordering. The upshot from having a pandemic.
Yeah.
God. If we've got to look for silver linings.
Right. It's the best way to do it.
Yeah. So Big Whiskey's is a local chain.
Yeah.
That I think is trying to expand out a bit. Out of the area.
It's like a TGI Fridays, Cheddar's.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all those Applebee's.
Yeah.
It's that style. Quick, casual, good steak, whatever.
Good food.
They are not the type of company that you would expect to be able to hop online and order.
Right.
And pick up your food and all that stuff.
Yeah.
We have done curbside twice from there since this all happened.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of our, like, obviously not every week, but every Friday we would pick up the kids together and we would go eat somewhere.
Yeah.
And it might not be a big deal, or it might be Big Whiskey's, which is around $50 for the four of us.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
But we would do that every so often, once a month, once every other month, something like that. And we were just kind of craving it, and so I was like, okay, well, I'll call and we'll do curbside, you know? And I called and we did curbside. But we had decided on something else yesterday to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And I went there, and either because of Memorial Day, now I can't talk, or because it's Monday, the place was closed. It was a Chinese place.
Okay.
Sometimes Chinese places are closed on Mondays.
Yeah. And Sundays.
And Sundays. And so I don't know if it was the holiday or Monday, but they were closed. And so I called my wife. We decided on that. She was looking at the menu. I already knew what I wanted. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll just look and see if they have online ordering. While she's still talking to me, I can order my food. It'll be just that much faster,
right.
You know? Plus, I prefer picking and typing what I want when I'm ordering food versus, like, verbalizing it. Because then someone else is typing and picking.
Right.
And there's... sometimes you lose stuff.
Yes.
And so pretty much any fast food place, if I can order in the app, even if I'm sitting in the drive-thru waiting for the cars to move up, I'll be like ordering my food so that when I get up there, I can just go, yeah, mobile order for Chad. And they're like, okay, gotcha. You know, it's just easier.
Yeah, that's pretty smart.
It's just easier. But yeah, so like this local restaurant chain now has online ordering. They have new signage up for curbside with numbers. So when you get there, you call the number that's on your sign and you say, hey, I'm at number 6. And they bring it out to you when it's ready. And it's so convenient. And I would think that even after all of this is over in a month or a year, however long it takes, I would think that some of that stuff, like, there are times when I don't want to go sit at a restaurant.
Right. You just want the food.
I just want the food.
Yeah.
And, like, I know curbside to go at different places has been a thing for a while, but it never made that much sense to me.
Right.
But it's starting to make more sense to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes you just, and especially with the kids, like sometimes I don't want to sit in a restaurant.
Yeah. I mean,
you know?
it's
some days you can tell by the day you've already had is not going to work.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes you don't want to be in the atmosphere. Like if you've had a busy, hectic, loud day, last thing you want to do is be in a busy, hectic, loud restaurant.
Place, yeah.
You just want a good steak or a good burger, and you want to take it home, and you want to sit in your house where it's quiet. So
exactly.
I definitely agree. I think that this stuff is going to be around, and it's going to stay around. Why would a restaurant have any reason to get rid of it is what I've tried to think of.
Right.
Because it's already implemented.
Once you've paid your IT company to put it in, why would you then take it out later?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm hoping that a lot of it stays around. I'm hoping that it encourages restaurants that aren't doing it to do online ordering in the future too.
Yeah.
Because I like it. I do like the online ordering. I don't do it as much as you, but I'm getting more, I'm adapting to it more.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, maybe they have an app.
Well,
or maybe they have a site.
Coupons too.
Yeah.
If they have an app and you can order online, they have coupons. And this guy is all about coupons. If I don't have to actually cut something out of some paper.
Yeah. Yeah, like the McDonald's app works really well for coupons. I mean, it's like...
Well, McDonald's, Wendy's, Sonic are all the same. Like, they all have great coupons right there in the app. Mm-hmm. And they refresh every day. You can use the same one every day.
Nice.
So, anyway.
Well, cool.
Online ordering.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I never met you, and now you're here, and I like you.
Yeah, stay around online ordering.
Stay around online ordering. You're a new best friend.
Well, I think that's the topics for the day. Whoa. Just got choked up there. I was sad that we were done with the topics. Did you want to do some crazy tech?
Let's do some crazy tech.
Let's do it.
We are recording in the car. We are recording in the car. We can't be stopped now, because it's LT3 for life.
Okay, you gotta help me. No idea.
Bad Boys. From Bad Boys.
From the movie Bad Boys?
Yeah,
oh.
with Martin Lawrence and Will Smith.
That was
they
a good movie.
just had a new one here lately, and I haven't seen it yet, but that's a throwback to the original.
The original was good.
It was really good.
I think the second one was good, too. I don't remember.
It was.
Okay.
I still,
they all blend.
Day. So, at the end of the first one, there's like a huge car chase scene, because that's the kind of movie it is. It's a cop movie. But at the beginning of the second one, Martin Lawrence and Will Smith both have to go to, like, counseling because of everything they went through.
Yeah.
Which is realistic.
Yeah.
Your department would totally send you to see someone.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, Martin Lawrence has learned all these, like, coping techniques and whatever, and he rubs his earlobes, and he says, Woosah. And I still to this day, that movie's from like the early 2000s, I think.
Yeah.
I still to this day, if I'm having a super stressful day and someone asks me how it's going or whatever, I'm just like, Woosah. I will do it.
Now I'll
and
know.
Nobody catches the reference.
I will now.
But yeah. So,
That's funny.
anyway. I think it's P. Diddy and some other people. Nelly? I don't know. That's who sang it.
Okay.
But, yeah.
I'll go along with it.
All right.
I'll go first.
Yeah.
So, Zwift.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I mean Grand Theft Auto 5.
Oh, what?
Yeah. Have you seen this online?
Online?
Have you seen the videos that have come out?
No.
So, okay. So, if you're familiar with Zwift, it's a biking game that you use your real bike and you bike around.
Yeah.
Well, you might be familiar with Grand Theft Auto.
I am familiar with the franchise.
You go around and you murder people and steal things.
Rip them out of their cars and beat them with a pipe.
And you have like full access to this whole city.
Uh-huh.
Well, Grand Theft Auto 5 has the ability for them to be able to, I think this actually has been the case for all the PC versions, where you can modify it. Like they basically made it to where you could do mods in the game. So people who have programming skills with games could actually add features to the game that they wanted. Okay. And then the community could go out there and download them. Well, you know what Be Cool is?
Nope.
Be Cool is a trainer company that makes their own smart trainer, and they've tried for years to make their own smart trainer software like Zwift.
Okay. A
person who is a software engineer, game developer from that company left and went to Garmin. It's long, twisty.
No. I like it.
He left to go to Garmin, and while he was at Garmin, decided to make his own mod that has a little Garmin computer that pops up on the GTA screen and has a avatar that's riding a road bike.
Uh-huh.
And you can hook it up to your trainer.
No!
And you can ride around the city in Grand Theft Auto 5. So you can even do, I guess they have this thing called auto drive, where you can basically, the person has like predefined maps.
Okay.
And you can get on one of those and say auto drive on, and you just pedal, and it basically drives you around wherever that map is, but you can get killed in the process.
Well, it's just like riding on the road.
Yes, you can go on the highway and get ran over by a car. You can run over people with your bike, and they flip you off and yell at you.
Because it hurts and it's inconvenient, but it doesn't kill them.
Yes, but what is crazy about this is this has spurred another video that has come out too, where a guy who does game development basically created his own little Zwift, like in a few days. And so the Zwift community is thinking, if there's these people that can create these cool environments in a week, why is Zwift development so slow? Well, it turns out that Zwift doesn't want to use any of the predefined world building engines that are out there. They're building all their own stuff themselves. They're reinventing literally the wheel in this process.
So that they don't have to pay anyone?
No, these services are free.
Oh, well.
From what I gather. And so you look at the graphics in GTA5, you'll have to watch one of the videos. I'll send you a link. DC Rainmaker and GP Lama both did a video out there. But the graphics are so good.
Right, because it's a video game.
I mean, they're so good. And it's like, you go back and you look at Zwift and you're like, what is this?
What is this Nintendo Entertainment
Right.
System?
It's that big of a difference. Like the clarity on the person's like jersey, and you can see details, and the bike and the interaction with the people around. It's cool. I love the fact that there's somebody doing this, because to me, this is going to push this industry even further, knowing that somebody can just do it, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, of course.
I thought that was pretty crazy and deserved the crazy tech talk.
I'm here for it.
Nice. What do you got?
What do you have in your ear right now?
Wax.
What else?
Oh, an Apple EarPod.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
We're trying this out.
Yeah.
It's been reported that iPhone 12
Mm-hmm.
will not have a free pair of wired EarPods.
Wah, wah.
So, I can't. Let me look this up real quick. The numbers for AirPod sales are bigger than I would have thought.
Yeah.
Just in general. But it was like 50-some million in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And they're projecting 60 million of AirPods sold in 2019, and then they're expecting a nearly 50% jump to 94 million pairs in 2020.
Wow.
So yeah, the iPhone and the AirPods are going to be the biggest profit drivers for Apple.
Yeah.
And if they take away the free EarPods, and you still want to stay in the Apple ecosystem,
yep,
you only have one choice.
Well, you have two. You could buy wired ones.
Well, sure, but you're still buying. But why would you? If you're going to buy, why would you buy wired?
Yeah, I wonder how much they'll sell these for. I don't know. You can probably buy these separately, right? $30 maybe?
Probably.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. It's another move that Apple has made. And you could almost see this coming, and I really was actually kind of surprised that they still offered headphones in the 11. Just because, I mean, what was it, the 7 that got rid of $30? Dude, I did. What was it, the 7 that they got rid of the headphone jack?
Yeah, it mentioned that in the article as well.
Yeah, that's whenever they threw out the word courage.
In 2016, with the iPhone 7, they eliminated the headphone jack.
Yeah, and that was a big deal. Everybody squawked and complained, boo-hooed. And you know what, really?
Doesn't matter.
I say it doesn't matter, but...
You adapted. It no longer matters.
Once you got AirPods, you had them with you all the time, but those moments that you didn't have AirPods and somebody had like a regular headphone, you're like, oh, crap.
Nuts.
So...
I can't use that.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely downfalls from it, but at this point, I'm not going to miss them. How about you?
Not at all.
You're not going to miss them.
I will say, I mean, we've discovered, for whatever reason, the recording quality is better on wired EarPods than on AirPods.
Yeah, it is.
Why? I don't know. But it is.
Yeah.
But if I use these once a week, they should last forever.
Right.
The only thing is if the iPhone 12 also doesn't have a lightning connector, which they're not getting rid of that. That we would have known about that.
Yeah, I mean, people want USB-C, and I would like USB-C, but I don't think that's coming this year. Maybe next year.
Do you think they're ever going to do it? Because I thought that there was major pushback because then... Not just because you can get out of the ecosystem, because you can buy an aftermarket charger.
Mm-hmm.
No big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And it has the lightning adapter. Right. But, like, there's something about Apple just having its own stuff that just seems so Apple of them to want to keep it that way. So for them to go to the USB-C just seems like, well, why would they?
Yeah, I think they will, and I think the reason is that it's faster, and they're gonna run into basically a limitation of what Lightning can do. USB-C can charge some insane rate if they allow it to.
Yeah.
And plus they've already done it on multiple Apple products. They've got it on the iPads.
Oh, they do.
iPads are USB-C. And then, of course, all the MacBook Pros charge
and
from
Lightning
USB-C.
Or just USB-C?
Just USB-C.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can't plug a pair of headphones into that?
No, I would have to have some sort of weird dongle. So
Dongles.
Dongle Town. But yeah. We'll see what happens. I mean, I think that they'll eventually go to USB-C. I just think it's inevitable. It's a better setup, but
yeah,
I don't think it'll be this year. I think getting rid of the headphones in the box will be enough drama for the online news articles to write about that.
Right.
To switch over. What's really funny, speaking really quick, I know I'm changing your topic, but
I'm done.
You know how you always hear about people saying, "God, they're changing inputs again," like about USB-C.
Uh-huh.
Like even Jessica complained about that, and I go, "Hold on a second. How many inputs have they had?" She goes, "Well," and I go, "They've had 2." They've had 30 pin and the Lightning.
Yeah.
And these phones have been out for 11,
12
12 years. Yeah. So they have a much lower reputation of switching inputs or ports than Android phones do. Android phones uses every different types of USB that's come out.
Right.
Yeah. Mini, micro, B, A, C, D, X, Y, Z. They've tried it all.
Yeah, like when you get when you like go to a conference and they have their little branded table of swag that you can pick up, pencils, pens, whatever. Sometimes there will be like a multi-charger
just a
type of deal.
Looks like an octopus.
And you're like, I have never even seen most of these. What do these charge?
And the one that doesn't work is the Lightning because it's been used so much that it's broken.
Right. Right. Well, and I remember like back when I was in college, I had a Blackjack 2, which I think was Samsung. And, like, I could never borrow a friend's charger.
Right. That's annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's super annoying.
Yeah.
And so, just because, no one else had the same exact phone. And so they didn't have the same exact charger.
Right.
It's just weird.
We'll go through it again on the iPhone, but I think not this year.
Not this year.
That's my prediction.
Well, there you go.
Oh, I think that's it, Chad.
I think so, too.
Should we let them know where they can find us, or should we keep it a big secret?
You can find us in this car.
Oh.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Here we are. This was so enjoyable.
It's definitely better in person than through some...
Than trying to talk over each other?
Yeah, some stupid little camera, and I'm so done with video conferencing.
God, me too.
If I never have to do a video conference again, I'll be okay with that.
8 weeks ago, when we first started doing, not recording the podcast, but like worldwide, when we first started video conferencing, I was like, you know what, this is pretty good. This is pretty cool. I'm here for it. Like this is a little revolutionary, even though people have been doing it for years. It's been available.
Right.
And about 6 weeks after that, I was like, you know what, bleep this.
This is stupid. I need to see your face.
I'm over it. There's a lag. You keep talking over me.
Yeah.
Because you don't know I'm about to talk, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway.
Yeah.
You can find us on social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram at Lunchtime Tech Talk, and we're on Twitter at LunchTimeTechT1. We've got a website, LunchTimeTechTalk.com, where you can browse show notes and listen to past episodes, and you can find all those different players that we discussed that aren't Spotify. And... you can also send us an email if you want from the website. It's pretty cool. I mean, nobody sends email anymore unless you're just spamming people because you're a big company.
If you just want to say hi through email,
just want to say hi.
We'll read it.
Hey guys, what's up? I feel like I've never done this before because we're like in the car all of a sudden.
It's new. So I'm looking at you.
Yeah, you're looking at me, judging me.
Judging you.
Just completely, no. We have a Patreon page. It's patreon.com/LunchTimeTechTalk. And that's all I'm going to... Hey!
Who?
I was looking at our YouTube page.
Yeah.
We have 8 subscribers.
Yeah, we do.
I didn't know that.
Thank you to you 8 subscribers out there.
Yeah.
Share it.
Share it and keep subscribed and listen and stuff. But yeah, I went out... last Thursday after our stuff had posted, and I was like, let's see how the YouTube channel's doing. It had 6 views and 8 subscribers, and I was like, what?
Yeah, I feel like,
because there's no video associated with it.
Right, it's just audio.
It's just interesting that someone has chosen that as, like, their preferred platform, and I'm here for it.
I am, too.
Totally here for it.
Yeah.
So anyway, you can find us on our YouTube channel, Lunchtime Tech Talk. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at MSUMACC. That's MSU Mac. Mike, where you at?
The easiest way to find me is just go to runbikemike.com, and in the upper menu bar, there's all my social media.
It's a sandwich stack if you do it on your phone.
Yep.
I don't know what it looks like on the computer because I don't use computers.
Welcome to the Lunchtime Tech Talk. We don't use computers.
I use my phone.
Yeah, it's just...
it's a little sandwich stack.
Yeah, it's a bar that goes across the top, and you'll see all the social media that I've got on there.
The second option is shop, and you should totally do that. The shirts are legit. Like, they're comfortable, and they're the good tri-poly cotton, whatever
Yeah.
blend. Like, they're the good shirts.
Yeah, they turned out good.
And the colors are good, so we've seen a couple.
I've got a product coming in today. I don't know if it's my coffee mug or my sticker. I'm excited to see those.
Did you order a coffee mug like mine?
I ordered a white one with Jerry.
Okay.
I ordered a Jerry coffee mug.
Nice.
So, but yeah, no, and then I ordered a Run Bike Mike sticker. So,
Nice.
yeah, I have to order this stuff too. So,
Right.
I wish it was free.
Hopefully you're at least giving yourself a discount code.
Yes, I do not pay myself to buy my own stuff. I buy it at
pay
cost.
myself to sell to myself.
Well, I think that's it, and we will see you guys and ladies next week.
Yeah, thanks for spending your lunch with us.
Bye.
Bye.